viewers. Aze, welcome back to TechChef Africa. To them. Anyways, Happy New Year and welcome back to Season 2 of TechChef Africa. Today's episode is going to be very entertaining, right? And today we have a very talented, intelligent young man who will be joining us, and he happens to be the president of Hacklab Foundation, and also he is the incubator manager for Stanbic Bank Group. Without wasting much time, welcome Foster Awintiti. Wow.
Today I'm going to be making you mashed potatoes.
Okay.
I'll also make you my special secret desserts, which is yogurt with grapes and cake.
I hope we want to run.
You would love it. It's a really bad combination in terms of health.
Okay.
Eating healthy, but it tastes so lovely in your mouth, and you would want to have more and more of it. And I'll also be making you beef sauce as well. So we are going to start with maybe the dessert, and then we'll keep it in the refrigerator, and then we'll move on to the rest. Of the preparation.
Okay, great.
We'll be using grapes, and then we'll be using our cake.
Okay.
For the meal. So yeah, for the dessert. So watch me as I make you some lovely yogurts with cake and grapes. I will just, for the sake of making it a cocktail, we'll just use a little bit of everything for each person.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Foster, whilst you are preparing your dessert for us, quickly we want to know who is Foster and what are your fun facts?
I think I'm pretty much a simple person. Ultimately, everything I do is centered around a single purpose, which is to help people find their path.
Hey! There no. Okay.
Which is to help people find their paths.
Okay.
And so, whether I'm advising a business or I'm advising an individual, the ultimate goal is, how do I help you navigate all the options you have and make the right decisions, right?
Okay.
So that's...
Wow. This looks lovely already.
Yeah. So this is the junk I eat when I feel like being and living unhealthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
We now know.
So I love banku, right?
Okay.
Banku with anything. Why not? Except light soup and with the okra cut in it, like.
Okay.
Yeah. So dessert is ready. It's very fast.
Hey.
Very fast and easy to make. So
wow, interesting.
This is my easy to make quick recipe. You can check it out. Yeah. Okay, so by the way, I love to play basketball as well. And if I have a pretty busy week, then I run my errands on Saturdays and spend time with my family on Sundays. Okay. If I had a pretty flexible week, then I rest on Saturdays. Sometimes it's like my lazy day, or if I have to go for grooming, like I go for grooming every 2 weeks, right? So get my hair trimmed, pedal my knee. If I need to get a massage to relax myself a bit, I do that on Saturdays. Sundays after church is meant for family time, so that I can't really do away. If I am able to escape family time, then I take a nap. In the evenings, I'll spend between the hours of 7 to 9. I spend planning my week. Okay. And if I'm not sleepy, I can maybe read something, take on maybe a heavy task that I need to do some preparations towards, especially if it's due for Monday or stuff like that. Exactly. Otherwise, I'll just go to bed. or
Interesting.
watch movies, right?
Interesting.
I have an interesting taste for politics.
For
Movies that are politics related, movies that include power, include business, this like very strategic decision making that influences the
once
development.
again, I think we would want you to tell us your journey into funding or starting Hacklab Foundation, and what was the motivation behind that?
So I've told this story many times. It's becoming a cliche in my ears, but for the purpose of this show, so it was back in the university, right? So I attended Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. It used to be a club called M Friday.
Okay.
Now M Friday was like a sort of like an emerging tech community, or people who think in a disruptive manner, right? So you meet the likes of George Appiah, who is now the CEO of Massive High, and also Ghana Executive Director for Ghana Tech Lab. You meet the likes of Aloysius Attal, who is now the CEO of Pharmaline. You meet other guys, other startups that emerged from there. The other guys, I met Isaac Sessi from there. I met Peter O'Hara from there, who is one of the very good developers that graduated from Nest. So there were quite a number of people, right? And these guys were doing pretty amazing stuff.
Okay.
And we used to have meetings every Friday. So you go there, they invite resource persons to come and give talks on different subjects. And then sometimes we host hackathons. So my very first hackathon experience was actually from there, right? And it was organized by my own colleague who was in first year as well at the time, or that. So I asked myself, there are people of my age who think like this, and so I'm not a loner in this journey, right? So I felt that sense of belonging and renewal in my mind, and every day I wanted to think about something new I could do. So fast forward, when the guys who started this club left the school, they hadn't put in a succession plan. So there was nobody to lead M Friday anymore, or no one to convene the people every Friday or bring in resource persons. So myself and Eldad and a number of colleagues decided to try. So I was like, let me just try and build something on my own, right? So I got this brilliant idea. Can you get water?
Sure.
To start to design an innovation event, so more like a hackathon, right? Then I pitched it to.
They've already been washed for you.
Okay. I didn't know they were washed, but there's nothing wrong with rewashing again. Yeah. So where was I with the story?
So you got an innovative
So I got an idea to start to design a hackathon. I worked on a draft. Then I had in mind, I had seen SlidePay, right? SlidePay is a product of Dreamable and Stanbic Bank. I had seen it online and I was like, these guys are doing some amazing stuff. How do I work closely? How do we get them to, because they had built APIs, right? For those who don't know what APIs are basically, it means application programming interface. And these are like, they are designed to help create like a bridge between two different applications, right? Yeah. And so you're able to control the flow of information between like a pipe. Exactly. So we created these. I created this event to find a way to help the students start to build their capacity towards understanding the needs in industry and equip themselves in this whole API economy.
Okay.
So I spoke to Dreamover. I was like, you guys have a fantastic product, but just like musicians drive the music, what we listen to, fashion designers drive what is in vogue. That's the same way developers drive what innovations, softwares will be in use in the near future. So if you can't get them to understand how your product works, then it becomes difficult for them to consider you as a priority or as an option to their clients. Because if I come to you as if you're a developer and I come to you as a client, you advise me on what tech stack to use, what languages would be convenient and efficient for scalability, efficiency, etc., reliability, etc., etc. So I realized that the developer community was very, very key to help us grow the development, the software engineering space, right? So when I spoke to Dreamover, Derry was like, so I met Derry on Facebook. I didn't know he was the CEO then of Dreamover. So I spoke to him. He was like, oh, it's a brilliant idea. Come by the office and let's have a conversation. So he introduced me to his other co-founders. We talked about what I wanted to do, and then they just agreed. They were like, this is a brilliant idea, let's do it. They assigned me a coach, and I always am grateful to her. Maybe I'll just use this platform as an opportunity to give her a shout out. She's Karen. Her name is Karen. Not that she's Karen. Her name is Karen, but she's also Karen, right? So Karen was my mentor in the beginning, assigned to me by Dreamover. She was an expert in organizing innovation events, hackathons, and activities like that. So Karen helped me figure out how to design the entire program, what resources would be required, and all of that. Then I was alone doing this. I didn't have a team, right? So the very first event was a big struggle for me because Karen was only giving me advice and not necessarily doing the work for me, right? So she gives me assignments, I go, I complete the task, I come back with the deliverable, she reviews it, she gives me feedback, I go back and I do it again. So fast forward, events, Dreamover gives me their vote of confidence and introduces me to a man named Patrick Quantin, who was then head of emerging payments at Stanbic Bank, right? So we get on this first Skype call. This man is like very different. He's like, I've been on the call for the last 1 minute. The call was scheduled for 10 a.m. Why are you on the call at 10 a.m.? And that was the introduction to the call. Wow. I was like, oh wow, interesting. And I apologized. Then he accepted my apology. We went on to have a conversation. He asked me, so yeah, what are the key deliverables? What are we trying to do? What is the budget? Etc. etc. And then he was like, okay, I am willing to commit XYZ to it. Let's see how it goes. Right. So I go back and rework the proposal and the budget to fit what Stanbic was willing to make as a commitment. So through Derry's vote of confidence, I got Stanbic Bank to be the sponsor for the very first event. And they gave us a little around 20K, right? Wow. That was in 2016.
Which level were you?
I was in my second year and I was hosting an event with a budget of 20,000 seats and I was pretty excited. Yeah, because for the first time, someone is putting that much money in mind. It's like a startup who has received free money to build their idea, right? So I took this very serious. I put in all the effort, sleepless nights. I had to sacrifice going to class because you can't have it all, right? You can't eat your cake and have it. Yeah. So I had to sacrifice going to class and focus more on building that. Because for me, the fulfillment was, if I do opportunity cost, right? If I go and sit in class, I don't get a chance to work on this. If I decide to work on this and not sit in class, I will be impacting so many lives. But sitting in class, my probability of impacting people's life while sitting in class is very low, right? So I had to make that decision. Then I decided to go with the option of helping make this dream a reality. So I spoke to two of my colleagues. Then it was Lily was my first team member.
Wow.
Yeah. So Lily, who is now our head of community engagement and job placement at Hacklab, was the first team member. She really loved the idea, believed in it, put in all her efforts, sleepless nights to support. So it was just the two of us, right? That was how we started. Then I told our colleagues in the class that, oh, we are hosting this event. It's free food, free Wi-Fi at the Vodafone Cafe for 2 days. So it's an overnight event. And
wow. Your first hackathon was 2 days, yes, 48 hours.
Yes.
Wow.
And it was an overnight event, right, at Vodafone Cafe. And the Vodafone Cafe then had never hosted any events of a sort over there. So they didn't even understand how to go about keeping the place open for us. So I had to negotiate with the cafe manager at the time on the modalities. They even gave us a significant discount on that. Was even before Vodafone became one of the main sponsors. Yes, so I convinced the manager, he agreed. His staff were excited because they had never seen an activity of a sort. And you know, Vodafone is a very forward-thinking organization. I'm not saying this because they are our partners at Hacklab Foundation. I'm saying it primarily because of how they embrace our ideas and the commitment they've put in supporting the foundation and the impact we've made together with Stanbic Bank over the last 5 years. So Stanbic Bank gave us the first sponsorship. We hosted the first event. We had 72 participants. We had about 20 teams out of that, forming teams of about 2s and 3s. We had students from University of Waterloo in Canada participating. We had. Was your first hackathon or? Yes, in our very first hackathon, we had students from 4 universities participating.
Wow.
From GT, Ghana Telecom University, from KNUST, from University of Waterloo, and also from, I think unofficially, we had students from Ashesi participate as well. They joined a team in KNUST. 2 of them joined another team of 2 in KNUST to participate. Okay. Yes. Wow. Then we weren't running the hackathon based on, like, you form a team based on which school you come from, etc., etc. Yeah. So it was very successful. Brilliant solutions emerged out of them. We had Isusu, which was an e-wallet that was created. You know, the purpose of the first event was to promote financial technology in Ghana, right? The second event was focused on promoting e-commerce in Ghana. The third event was focused on blockchain technology. The fourth event was focused on introducing the fourth industrial revolution.
I think I was part of that.
Yes, and then we moved on. We were going to launch we launched artificial intelligence this year. Unfortunately, we didn't host the event because of COVID-19. Next year, we are relaunching the artificial intelligence as our primary focus, and we have amazing partners who are on board. We are expecting over 1,000 participants next year, and we are introducing other amazing initiatives in 2021, also launching in a few other countries. And we'll be sharing more on that if you stay tuned on the Hacklab Foundation's page, right? So lessons from very first events: we didn't have a team. We weren't well coordinated. Information flow wasn't uniform amongst all team members, which is a very big problem where everything relies on one person, right? So I learned my lessons really fast. We got feedback from Stanbic and from Dream Mobile that they wanted to redo, they wanted to host it again. They wanted to sponsor us again to do it. And that was our breakthrough, right? So we, fortunately, unlike many other people who start initiatives and they don't get funding, we got funding right from the beginning and had the right people supporting us right from the onset. And till today, I am most grateful to people like Barry Dean, to Patrick Quantin, to Nana Bennett Dumont, to Stanbic Bank, to Dream Mobile, to Karen, to Henry, to Claude, and all the other guys who flew in from different countries, to Ato Olsen, to Georgia Pia, we had backing from Ghana Think Foundation, we had backing from Kumasi Hive, we had backing from we had backing from a host of people, right? And so it made it very, very easy for us. The good thing is I had started building these networks ahead of the initiative. So, and I was volunteering a lot on other people's projects. So when I called on them for support for mine, the confidence to support was there because I had proven myself worthy of being supported at the time. And that's a lesson that I would love to share for our viewers who are watching from the show. So that's the genesis of Hacklab Foundation. Today we've impacted over 10,000 people. We, as of the end of this year, by the time December would be on, we would be on 31st December, we would have placed over 600 people in jobs. We currently even have about 40 job openings which we are helping companies hire for, right? And even this morning we received a job placement offer from a company in Trinidad and Tobago. So, and these are Ghanaian developers who are now working and reaching other companies and impacting across the globe just by a single initiative we put together. So for me, if I don't get anything else to do aside working on Hacklab and I die tomorrow, God forbid, I feel I would have lived a fulfilling life, right, and left a legacy in the lives of people who participated in our initiatives.
Okay.
Hey, me that's
for just for a few minutes.
So today I've managed to get the curator for TechChef to be cleaning my sweat while I'm making food. I must be very important.
No.
Anyways. So yeah, that has been the beginning. That's how Hacklab Foundation started. There's been up and downs. Today we have a team capacity of almost 60 people who are supporting in different capacities to help make what you see every day a reality. And I can't say words cannot describe my appreciation for the efforts they've made to make our initiative a success.
But we also want to find out throughout this. I know that definitely you've experienced imposter syndrome whilst you were trying to get Hacklab on its feet. How did you overcome it?
So there's something about being ambitious when you are young, right? You live in an ideal state. So a lot of people before they turn 30 are very idealistic in their way of thinking and think very less about what reality really looks like. And this is very, 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 very prominent in our generation, right? Our Gen Ys and Zs who are very eager to be successful. The word impact has become a loose word. Yeah. Everybody says, I want to create impact. I want to impact hundreds, thousands of people. But we forget to think about what commitment is required to be able to successfully impact 10,000 plus people, and the sacrifices you have to make at the expense of your health, at the expense of your pleasure, at the expense of relationships, XYZ. So that pressure on us is what has really resulted in us having an influx of people suffering mental health issues and all, because we've set benchmarks so high for ourselves and we are trying to run a race of other people when we are supposed to focus on creating our own paths in the race, right? And running at our own pace. Yeah. So for me, it wasn't an easy journey. 3 years ago, I had a massive breakdown. And so I had to retreat a bit and focus on my health and reprioritize. Thankfully, I had great mentors and coaches by my side when I went through this phase. So it was very quick and didn't really affect me so much in terms of productivity. But it's brought to light the fact that I had set very big goals for myself than I could actually achieve in reality, right? And so I kept beating myself and seeing myself as a failure, even though people from the outside saw me doing a lot of things. But for me, it was below the standard I was trying to set for myself. So one of the easiest ways to recover from that is actually to establish a system of reflection, right? As often as possible, and also have like an accountability partner. So when you plan for the year or you plan your goals, you have that conversation with your accountability partner, you have a conversation with your mentors to assess the goals and assess the attitude you have built over the period to see whether you can actually meet the goals you set for yourself, right? So you do like a SMART assessment on it. So whether it's sustainable, is measurable, is attainable, is realistic and time bound, based on all the other commitments and reality, putting reality in check when you are doing that assessment. And so that was one of the ways I managed to overcome it. And always find someone you can speak to. It's very, very important, because I felt being vulnerable means being weak, which really isn't what it is, right? Because if you open up and you share, they say a problem half shared is a problem half solved, right?
Yeah.
You've solved 50% of it by taking off the burden and sharing the secret with somebody. So you no longer carry the burden of you being the only one who knows it. And that includes, you never know whether the person envies what you're doing. It's okay to tell your friend that I really envy the speed at which you are making progress, right? Being open about those things and having genuine conversations about them removes that how do I put it, circumstances of betrayal. Because if I can't tell you I envy you and I go and tell another person I envy you, and you go and hear it from that person, the narrative is totally different. But if I can have that genuine, so when you have an accountability partner and you need to establish that system of today is transparency day. Nobody takes offense of each other's opinions, but we want to be as open as possible and frank in our conversations. Tell me all the bad things I've done to you this year or in the last 3 months that we haven't had a chance to speak about, because it's communication. That breaches relationships, right? So for a relationship to be successful, it's subject to how effective the communication between the two of you are. Okay. Exactly. So for me, it's all about keeping an open mind. Don't be too quick to say, I trust this person, if you haven't established trust in a bi-directional way, because the person just listens to you, the person is always available for you, doesn't necessarily mean the person is who you need to trust as much as possible. And I always say that when you have a problem with somebody, the first person to assess is yourself. You don't blame other people first when you haven't assessed yourself to see whether the source of the problem came from you. And once you are able to create that system within you to always first assess yourself, you'd be able to manage a lot of relationships and build your emotional intelligence very well. Because then you know when to strike, when to manage, when to be upfront, when to be very political about your statements, and all of that.
Okay, I can see that you've made a huge progress with your bell pepper.
With your help.
Right.
Otherwise, we end up sleeping here.
How has researching the reality, right, unleashed your vision for the people you serve as a leader? And also, how has this also upskilled Hacklab Foundation's goals and purposes for the ecosystem that they find themselves in?
Okay, interesting. So, There's one thing I talked about idealism and reality in the beginning when we were having the conversation.
Yeah, certainly.
And when you explore those two things when you're planning and preparing for anything you want to achieve, right, you need to clearly consider the realities. If there's a pandemic today, how do you navigate it? That's why most businesses have what we call a business continuity plan, disaster recovery plans, and all of that. And people, like during COVID, you realize that Coursera designed a program called the Workforce Recovery Program. And the Workforce Recovery Program was basically to help people who are not digitally savvy catch up as fast as possible and close the gap. That would have resulted in most businesses who are considering using technology environments where everyone does what they want, but to an extent, right? So I am very vocal when it comes to expressing my opinions, but also with discretion and wisdom, right? And that's the combination of how we're brought up. Everybody decides what path you want to take, what course you want to study, which school you want to go to. Nobody influences your decision about those things, what trade you want to pursue. Nobody influences your decision. Once you decide, everyone gives you their support.
Wow.
Exactly. So that is how I was brought up. And so it gave us the opportunity to think and do all things. You go, you break, you come back. They will tell you, okay, this is why you broke. This is how you can navigate it. So we have we have periodic family meetings where everybody expresses their opinion. I can tell my daddy that what he did was not fair, it was wrong, or the decision he took about ABCD wasn't right. Same for my mother. It doesn't matter how old you are. So long as you feel what they are doing is not right, you have the right to express your view. Everyone listens to you to express your view. So I actually apply the same leadership principle in how I work, right? And one of the other things I learned quickly is never to assume, right? Always ask to validate that, oh, this is what you think. But don't let what you think be the conclusion. If you have not gotten the validation from the person that what you think about what they are expressing or whatever it is they are doing is exactly what it is. Because decision making always has a science behind it, right? Decision making always has a science behind it. And if you don't understand a particular person very well, you never understand their decision making mechanisms. And what makes a leader more effective is their ability to reach every single one of their team members. They should have built a profile of each one of their team members naturally in their head. And so it gives you the ability to combine Kojo and Yao to get 90% of the result, as compared to combining Abena and Kojo, which will give you 50% of the result, because they may have personality clashes. So once you're able to understand these personality traits, so nowadays when you are being hired into an organization, they make you do a personality test, right? For them to profile who you really are.
What is your leadership style?
So I combine laissez-faire with sometimes you have to. I've never vetoed anything. I think I'm strongly laissez-faire, right? What we do is we sit down and set the overall objectives of the organization, and then every single person has their portfolio they manage. So I don't interfere in terms of this is what you need to do. In terms of operations, I only advise from strategy level, and they have the free will, provided all the resources are available. As my responsibility as leader to make sure it is to do what they need to do to make it work. And when they need counsel from time to time, they come for counsel. But I allow the mistakes to happen and observe how they go to navigate the mistakes, and I see improvements from time to time. And that's the only way today. We do a lot of the things that I'm not involved in, like as in I'm not hands-on in the day-to-day running most of these things, right?
Do you need water?
It has proven to be very effective a little bit.
Okay. I think my services here is done. This is the time for me to move on to another leap project or something like that.
I like to build. When I see it running, then I know that yes, because once you see that the decision making skills, the level of maturity, conflict management, team management is achieved, we are basically and all of that, then I know that I don't need to be involved in their day-to-day operations. And so it's time to move on to something new. And moving on to something new doesn't mean totally
moving out of the company or the project.
Come hands-on anymore.
Okay.
You just steer the vision while the team executes the strategy.
Wow. So in terms of scalability, right? Have you ever hit roadblocks, and also how did you woke up from those challenges that you faced during those times?
Roadblocks financially, yes, as a non-profit. We always want to maintain the standards of everything we do the highest level of state possible, because once you reach the bar to a certain level and your consumers or your direct beneficiaries get to have that first-hand experience, you can't come below that benchmark. All you do is to keep going upwards, right? So maintaining that financial responsibility of ensuring we keep the standards growing better and better year on year has been quite challenging, because you can only raise so much money at a time to cover the cost of the initiative you want to do. We have a lot of things penned down, but due to financial constraints, we are unable to. That's why we decided to introduce a few revenue models to help us raise money to support ventures, to support the initiative. And we believe that if we are able to scale some of them, if we're able to launch and scale some of them, the impact we are making now will be making maybe 100, 400 times better what we are doing. So that's where we are headed to as an organization. And
basically. All right. And
naturally, I'm an idealist. When I'm planning, I just believe that it works at all costs. And so, for me, the cost of succeeding is actually going out of your comfort zone. Right? You can't do something the same and expect different results. You need to continuously challenge yourself to be better than where you started from. And you only see progress where you put in effort, right? And growth is dependent on that continuous improvement and all of that. So getting out of my comfort zone for me has become like a part of me, right? Going out of your way and will to make things work. I can date back to when I was in the university, when I was fixing carpets in people's rooms, selling water in my room, printing, running a photocopy business, selling tickets, going door to door, knocking on people's doors, convincing them about why XYZ is important, getting involved in student politics, not sleeping. You go around, campaign, you come back, you have to study for the exams, make sense, and all of that. Putting yourself through that stretch gives you the opportunity to test your elasticity. As to whether you are capable enough. I told you about the body can go, the body's strength is limitless, but the ability of the mind to explore the potential of the body determines how far you can go out of your will, right? Because every new stretch is like change, right? We resist to change, it's natural of humanity. So for you to be able to constantly evolve as change happens determines how much you build your capabilities to withstand those new changes and condition your mind all the time. So, and I plan a lot. Trust me, every single way I take is a calculated step. I don't just get up and say, oh, my dream is a baby, I'm just going to do this. No. I explore who is in my network that I need to succeed. Who is which resources do I have currently available that will help me succeed? What is the least line of resistance I need to achieve this goal? Once I know that if I don't go and talk to these people and I use XYZ resources to pilot it, I can have something to demonstrate to whoever it is I need more resources from to execute it. So I focus on the small wins and try to get them done. Okay. Because the small wins accumulate the bigger impact.
Yeah.
Right? You can't tell a story of 100,000 if you can't start from 10. You get it? And that's basically how I live. I don't start right from the beginning and say I want to achieve 10,000. How can I achieve 10? And how can I scale the strategy I use for 10 to reach 10,000? Wow. That's basically it.
Lots of information in there. Foster, I don't know, I don't want to say, I wonder if he is a super human being or what, but this guy has a way of balancing things around him that you wonder if he even sleeps at all. Right, so Foster, I know that you are the president of Hacklab Foundation, and I also know that you are the incubator manager for Stanbic Bank Incubator. And aside that, I know that you run multiple projects, and I don't know if there are other businesses, but that is your personal life, so we will not go there. But we want to know, how do you balance all these together to make sure that whatever you do turns out to be successful? Because honestly, so far, ever since I got to know this guy, everything he does turns out to be a success.
Please,
I'm not hyping him though, but I believe that the last time I was talking to a common friend of ours, and he was like, "Hey, see, Foster, they don't go there. See the bar that he has raised there. Only God knows when we can get there." And this also shows how, people also look up to him, and his work also motivates others to keep pushing. So how do you find balance in all these things that you do in terms of running Hacklab Foundation, at the same time running SBIncubator, at the same time other initiatives that you are part of, the board members, the chairs, and how do we call it, other businesses, private businesses that you run for yourself? How do you find balance? And please tell us, give us some tips and hacks.
Time management. Time management is everything. Every single project, every single initiative needs timelines, right? Every goal needs timelines. A goal is not realistic, it's not achievable if it is not time bound. A goal is not achievable if it is not if it's not time bound. So for every single thing you do, when you wake up in the morning, you measure your activity by time. I say I have from 9 to 10 a.m. I'm supposed to be here. From 11 to 12 I'm supposed to be here. What's the output you get from the time, the input you make during that time frame determines your productivity. And the sum total of your productivity per every unit of time you spend determines your success. So if your definition of success at the end of Q1 is to sit on 3 boards, or to speak at 100 events, or to generate 100 hours of content for TechChef, then your commitment should be commensurate to the output you require, right? That's basically it. I am very, very, very conscious about how I use my time, where I use my time. And by the way, I'm not a superman. I sleep 7 to 8 hours a day, just like one human being is supposed to sleep. And I can prove that to you by showing you my Samsung Health, how do you call it? But it wasn't always like that.
Wow.
To be honest, when I started, I was sleeping 3 hours. Sometimes I could go 3 days without sleeping. You get it? Just to get by and build the foundations. Once you have reached a certain level of comfort, and when I say comfort, I mean you now understand the routine, the shortcuts, you've built rhythm, you've built lessons, you've learned from your past mistakes, you know how to navigate things. It gives you a better eye view every time you are doing something, right? So you know who you need at what time to get what's done. And you are able to now factor all these people in time. So you know that if you reach out to this institution, this person, and if you combine X, Y, Z, and you run them parallel simultaneously, By the time you reach the point where you need to make X decision, you've gotten all the people aligned. But if you decide to run the activity of the project task by task, you never meet your goal. Some tasks can run simultaneously. Identify those ones and put them in motion.
Okay.
So there's something called getting things done, right? It's a system. It's a methodology. If you get to understand getting things done, it says that something you can complete in less than 5 minutes, do it now. Something you can't complete within 5 minutes and it is under your control, schedule it in your activity and get it completed. Something that requires an external input to get it done, schedule it and follow up.
Okay.
So when you set it in motion, you follow up with feedback until you have closed that task. But if it is within your control, you start and finish it under your own purview. If it is something you can complete in less than 5 minutes, you do it instantly. You don't procrastinate. You don't schedule that task. So once you have that system in place and you combine a number of disciplines and activities, your life becomes very structured. So your productivity per unit is higher than someone who uses the same hour to do something. You get it? So when I'm starting a project and I sit down, I have a framework, baseline framework. Do all the things I need to get this project done. Have I ticked all the boxes so far? If yes, then what do I do from there? What resources do I need? Who do I need to talk to? Do I need to consolidate the team and get everybody aligned? Instill the vision for them, get everyone to buy in, share their opinion, and then once we have a common goal together, we all see the same picture. We distribute the tasks evenly. You need to also master the trait of trusting your team. First of all, master the trait of knowing the personalities of each of your team and how to combine them to maximize output. You need to also understand who to delegate what responsibility to based on their personality. Because then once you are able to figure all those things out, the system works. Organizations, so this is what we need to drill down to the personal, right? You need to have that discipline as an individual to translate it into a team, then to translate it into an entire organization.
Okay.
And so it starts from you. If you don't have personal discipline of managing your time, you can't influence your team because you're always known for not meeting deadlines. And to establish trust and principles within a team, you need to first live by it. Once you live by it, people know that I can't do this when it is with you. And so if Foster always delivers on time, he pushes the rest of his team members to deliver on time.
Excellent. And I agree with that.
Your job can only be done. They say that your output is somebody else's organization, right? So you need to also figure and factor that out clearly, right from the onset, and establish a ground rules with your team. So there's something called rules of engagement. Make sure that everyone understands and is aligned on the rules of engagement for the project. There are documents that you can create. You create those documents to get every single team member to commit to it. So if you set up a committee, you don't just set up a committee and say that please people all know why we are here. Reiterate, like I mentioned earlier, don't assume. Reiterate the purpose of the gathering. The fact that you are friends and you have a cordial relationship doesn't mean you don't have it. Because if you don't follow the process, then there's no system you're working with. And if there's no system, communication, words you use in communication with your team, that changes the entire dynamics and the spirit of the team to connect. If you've worked with the Hacklab Foundation before, you realize how much commitment they put in, even when I'm a student. So if you want to build a team, you need to find people who also have the right energy, right motivation, are ready to learn, submissive enough, and humble enough. Because when pride sets in, fall comes after, right? Before is pride. Exactly. So you need to make sure that is well established. And the sense of ownership is really critical. If everyone doesn't see themselves partly owning the vision, then the vision is for one person. And when the vision is for one person and you set a mission, the mission is to help one person achieve his goal, not come together and do it together. But a mission statement is supposed to be a collective activity. You get it's a collective statement. Not and people make an organization. The organization doesn't make the people.
Yeah.
So for you to breathe life into an organization, you need to have people who share the common vision, believe in a common mission statement, and have clear objectives set in their mind to contribute to certain happen. Now, you don't bring people together without clearly stating their responsibilities and commitment. You need to establish that job description for every single person. In as much as you are working as a team, there are moving parts in the program or project that requires different skill sets, different domain expertise. And it's the collective effort of everybody that brings that single harmony.
Okay, so we want to know if we are to go back 15 years and you are to rewind your, let me say, what you were doing back then and write a letter to yourself, what would the letter content contain and why?
Dear future Foster, there's a saying that's failing to plan is planning to fail. And I am writing this letter, which you will be reading 15 years from now, to reflect back and see how much you've achieved over the period. It is my pleasure to write to my future self to tell you where we are starting from. So that one day we'll be able to reference today and see how much progress you have made for people's lives and impacted. You are not sure yet what you are going to become from where I sit in today's time. But I know you are going to be very great and impacting so many lives. One of the things you need to remember is always to stay humble and remember where you always are. Because it is always remembering how you started that determines your intrinsic motivation to where you want to get to and how much progress you made over the period. I won't urge you not to push yourself too much and don't set too high benchmarks for yourself, because a journey to 1,000 miles begins with a step.
Yeah.
These are the few words I will leave you with, but I want to encourage you to stay consistent, to be hardworking, to maintain the discipline, and most of all, always speak the truth and choose the true side. Thank you very much, and we'll meet again in 15 minutes. So that's
wonderful.
That's the letter I would write to my future self if I were to write something to myself 15 years ago.
Always speak the truth and choose the right path.
Not the
convenient path. Thank you so much. I think this is going to be a very good 60 seconds of reflection on TechChef Africa. So watch out for this future. He already knows. He already knows.
He's ready.
Ta-da! Chef Foster.
And I present to you the meal for the day. So this is going to be our main course, and then we have the desserts on the sides. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic.
So lovely.
Okay.
So finally, after a long day, food is ready.
Food is ready.
And we have our sauce here. Yes, so I'm going to be doing you the honors of serving you. We'll start with your mashed potatoes.
I can use.
Yeah, don't worry. I know how to fetch this from this.
Alright. Scale, sir. Oh wow. Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, so now I endorse him as a chef.
So yeah, I'll use the same
definitely
spoon and put it here first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Dear ones, like this is looking so good. Left for me to taste it and
now we have
give you my feedback.
Garnished.
Okay, so quickly
we need another ladle to fetch spoon here. A big ladle to fetch the sauce.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
That's okay. This would be okay for me. Alright.
Yeah. So our meal is served. Keep it open.
Okay. Foster, thank you so much for coming on TechChef.
It's my pleasure.
To cook for us, and yeah, I'm yet to taste it. Out of cake, raw yogurt or fresh yogurt, and grapes. So I throw a challenge. Let me know how you will call or you will name these desserts, and there will be an awesome gift waiting for you out there. So yeah, Foster.
Yeah, I hope you love my food.
I love your food. The sauce, praise the Lord. Really good.
She had to praise the Lord. Oh my God.
Really good.
I feel very flattered.
Oh. And the dessert is so awesome. Yeah, so thank you all lovely viewers for staying tuned with us.